next speaker is Simon Blyth. Simon is the CEO and founder of the LX Group and of Smart Elements, which is an IoT ag-tech startup focused on providing high-quality sensor as a service solution for farmers, agronomists and software developers, enabled by the LX IoT cores, which is really cool technology. Simon grew up on a sheep and grain farm in northern New South Wales and has a passion for IoT product development, and he has a strong personal desire to see technology accelerate the performance of Australian agriculture. Simon's a previous winner of the Science and Innovation Awards for Young People in Agriculture and a number of other national and international awards, and he's spent over 15 years looking at ways of applying ultra-low power wireless technology to increase agricultural performance. So please join me in welcoming Simon to the stage.
All right, thanks so much. It's great to be here. Really, I just want to start by explaining why I'm so passionate about ag. We, as a global village, put 350,000 of these things on the planet yesterday. Right, these little bad boys. And if we don't increase our agricultural productivity by 2050, we're going to just have famine and war increasing. It's that simple. So we need to get better at doing this. This is the key. Doing this really, really well. And one of the challenges with doing that well is that you need physical devices in the field, and you need a platform you can build on. Now, everyone will be familiar with the app boom. When this came out, a remarkable bit of hardware that allowed developers to solve vertical problems by cutting code and not having to worry about real hardware in field. Now, we've brought out a range of products, but really they're to enable people like Roz to be able to focus on the vertical value that can be brought to particular problems. So, for example, you might have a dairy shed, like a dairy cow kind of system, and someone knows a lot about dairy cows, and they're really building a bit of software specific for that, whereas someone else is focused on broadacre. A lot of people see ag as like these, this kind of really, really big catch-all vertical, but there are so many different verticals within ag, and each of them needs their own subject matter expertise and applications developed for them. So that's what we're all about. We're about bringing the iPhone, the App Store, if you like, to agricultural tech, to enhance and accelerate innovation in ag. We've been doing product development, or IoT product development, for over a decade now. We have high volumes of devices physically all around the world, different countries. Last year we had 50 million events through our cloud platform. So these devices out there, they could be everything from pepper grinders to devices on mine sites to ag products to even smart bins and things like that. However, today what I want to talk about is something that concerns me, and it's a concern because I think although we all know that the money is not in the hardware, the money isn't a problem that we're solving, I feel that people are underestimating what it takes to do great hardware and how important that is, because it's a little bit like saying the tractor is not, it's not about the tractor, right? It's about the yield, right? But you need a reliable tractor. If you don't have a reliable tractor, you spend all your time fixing your tractor and not actually going out there and planting something. So I want to talk about, I guess, our experiences from the real world, where amazing products hit the real world and what that really looks like. Now let me start by one of my favorites, which is the 303 problem. If you get a lithium thionyl chloride battery and you put a bullet through it, it kind of explodes, or at least some of them do. This is a real problem. There are people out there right now shooting IoT products because they explode. It's fun, right? If I was 16 again, I'd be probably doing the same thing. Maybe after a beer. In our first generation of koala tracking products, we used the antenna there. It's a stainless steel braided brake cable. This is a brake cable. And these little guys, these fluffy little koalas, would shear it off. Like, we were so surprised. So we changed it. But we didn't think that would be a failure mode for the product. Nor would we think that the koalas themselves would get eaten by a python. So you think that your tracker's failed, but in fact, it's just not getting a GPS lock anymore because it's in a python's belly. This is a really, you'd think this was simple, right? So we're doing some center pivot irrigation systems. We're looking at the GPS coordinate at the end of the center pivot and the water flow as it goes through. But these center pivots, they have a pulse count device at the start. And when they start pumping, all that water in the center pivot comes all the way back and reverses its way back through. Now that thing just keeps ticking over. So it double counts the water, right? That volume of water that's in the center pivot. These are the kind of problems we're seeing, right? It's just, it's funny the kind of things you see. And actually, I love the pink as well, because I wouldn't have expected that either. Also, water flow, like the different diameters of pipes. It's hard to, people forget that you might have to configure something like that. And this is a real pain, is the use of effluent in irrigation. So not all irrigators do this, it's just a certain group of people. They use effluent for irrigating. Now, effluent, a lot of people get really excited about having an IP67 product, right? It's really waterproof. But effluent is it's corrosive like acid, but can actually melt away like seals. And it's thinner than kerosene. It actually gets in. You put an IP67 product in that kind of environment monitoring, it will not last very long. And then there's rain gauges. Oh my goodness, I hate tipping bucket rain gauges with a passion. You've got to calibrate them, the wind kind of knocks them, they tip. And of course you use bird spikes, but this is the kind of thing that happens because it's a paradigm shift. People used to go and have a rain gauge and they'd check it. And if there was something there, they'd unblock it. But now you've got a rain gauge in the middle of nowhere and it's just expected to work forever without any intervention. And there are things you do to stop that, and there are different types and different qualities of rain gauges, but the bird spikes don't stop the ants. They don't stop the spiders getting inside that little thing inside is like a little tipping bucket thing, so that they clog that up. And then soil moisture probes. My goodness. Soil moisture probes are like a religion. We thought we would get out there and support, we'll support a good soil moisture probe. We'll do that, and everyone will be happy, right? No. People have data sets going back 10, 15 years with data loggers where they go out and connect it, and they are passionate about their particular probe. They're a Centec, soil moisture guy, or they're a TDR and capacity is terrible, or they're all about AquaCheck, and these guys will not move. They will not budge off their particular soil moisture probes. We've ended up supporting over 100 different sensors, not just soil moisture probes, but a range of things, because some people look at the Davis bucket rain gauge and go, that's terrible, I'd never use that. And other people go, wow, that's a really expensive one. Gee, I'd go with the cheap one. It's amazing. And then with soil moisture probes with their insertion. So they essentially, when you drill a hole for a soil moisture probe, it compacts the soil around it, which means that the water can actually run down that probe and give you a really, really false reading. And then there's a calibration for the different types of soil, what that means. A lot of people don't know how to interpret the data from a soil moisture probe. They have no idea, right? And then soil moisture probes, it's the question of whether you put them in the paddock where you're interested, or on the edge, whether you run a trench, or whether you put the soil moisture probe down really, really low in the ground with a little antenna and you get terrible range. These are the practical things we're seeing on a daily basis. And then silos, right? So silos don't fill up like this, like a bathtub. Silos fill up like this, the grain inside. So if you look at the ultrasonic, the depth of a silo, just the top of the grain, when it actually comes out the bottom, it goes down like this. And then the volume goes down. So you're not really getting an accurate indication of volume when you measure the height of the grain in the silo. And phosphine. A lot of people want to measure phosphine because a number of reasons I won't go into. The problem is that phosphine sensors are really expensive, and phosphine eats phosphine sensors. Phosphine kills phosphine sensors. It's a really big problem. That's a challenging one. There's different techniques you can take to make that work, but it's not easy. And then when you get to sealed silos, which are essentially like really, really big bombs when there's grain dust in there, and fuel tanks, you're looking at intrinsically safe requirements. You're building products that can't ignite something, which brings in a whole heap of different cost levels, different certifications, and things like that. And then there's tanks. So there's this, a lot of us looking at getting all this data to the cloud and then just reporting it. But you've got situations where you've got an overflowing tank, you've got a pump down the bottom here, you want to turn it off when it overflows. So you need to be able to have a point-to-point connection or maybe a local connection, not have the cloud as part of this picture, right? And cows. I feel sorry for cows sometimes because it's really, really hard to scratch your nose when you've got a hoof, right? It's hard. So they rub up against things. Now this is a very well-treated cow. It's been given what they call a happy cow scratcher. It's for real. And anyway, when they don't have one of those things, it's often the trough or something, they're rubbing up against it. And if you've got a device where you're trying to get some good antenna reception, like good RF performance, so you've got a cable coming down, they'll just kill that in no time whatsoever. And then there's the mounting problem, right? So the shagging problem. Now, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just a really big issue. If you're trying to do some kind of collar ankle thing we had a tracking device many years ago, and the prototype was on the ankle. Don't go there, it's a really bad place to be. It's not, you're not at the right place at the right time. If you're a little IoT device on a cow's ankle, when you've got a 1-ton bull and the full thrust of its hoof coming down on the dismount. And then, we think we're doing the right thing by just giving the farmer, the quality of water and the level of water in a dam. But we're taking away something that they do every day currently, which is like they drive around the Hilux, right? And what happens is, as a dam will empty, it will get boggy around the edges there. The cows, the animals, the sheep will go in to drink from that water, and then they get bogged. Now, if you're driving around, you see that. So we're seeing, although we've got this fantastic ultra-low power wireless tech, where we've got these, these long battery lives and everything, people still do want some images. They still want they want to see this stuff, and the ability to see helps a transition point as well, in terms of this transition through to the new world. And then you've got, we're deploying on some really big properties in the Northern Territory, and satellite is the only thing we can do. So Flavia, where are you? I think you, yeah, okay, that's for you. Right, I can't wait to hook up, It's awesome. So we're going through some very expensive kind of satellite comms links for our base stations. They can set up on Wi-Fi or SAT, but it's just expensive. So I can't wait till that stuff all comes out and we can use it. And then you've got the fringing problem. So if you are in range of some kind of LPWAN network or some option, you can see the big hill there, right? Now what's at the bottom of that big hill is a creek or a river. Because creeks or rivers, they typically live in valleys. So that's where you got your pump. And that's the one place you can't, you don't get reception, right? So that's where the concept of on-farm base stations, repeaters comes in, even if you've got good reception. And this is a client who put up a well, actually they already had a really big antenna to be able to solve those kind of problems. Then there's shipping internationally. So we ship product internationally, and you've got the LoRa, the Sigfox, and the cellular networks, and there are different bands, there are different frequencies, there are even different protocol versions of LoRaWAN. So you've got to deal with all that when you ship internationally. It's really, really hard to test in Italy because you're here, and it's expensive. Yeah, you get it. Oh, and then some LPWAN links, they only have one-way or very limited back channels. Man, I can tell you now that when you're like the flight traffic controller in Sydney and you got like the screens and they go dark, you want to be able to have a conversation. You want to be able to do some kind of interrogation, some kind of bidirectional stuff. It's really important in the field because things go wrong. And then there's the whole thing where data is evil, like the cloud is evil, no one wants to touch the cloud, I just want to go and get my data logger. There's this paradigm shift that these farmers have to go through. Some of them just don't like the idea of this stuff, they just don't like it. And then there's this guy. And explaining to this guy that there's a monthly fee, that's a hard conversation. He's just kicking the dirt going, what do you mean there's a monthly fee? I don't want a monthly fee, I don't want you to like your thing, I want to pay you for the thing, and then I go own the thing and then you go away. Now, I completely think the service model is the way to go. And there are some people who buy the value, they get the value, and they'll go for it. But other people, there's this kind of paradigm shift for these guys. It's a challenging sell. I won't say it's just a challenging sell. And then this is a recent situation that we had where there are only 2 battery providers in the world who we trust to put in our products. Saft and Tataran, and we had a problem where we were given fake Saft batteries. We did not ship that product. We actually took a 3-month delay because of a fire in a factory, a long story, because we do not trust any other battery provider. Because these things, we're designing a product that's going to be out there for 10, even 15 years plus, right? You've got to get your battery right. You can't skimp on your battery, and that's probably the main thrust of my talk is that I'm excited about the low cost, the low cost solutions for ag tech, right? But on the left here, you've got a $50 weather station. On the right there, that's just one part of that weather station. That's about $5,000. There's a real spectrum. Now, you know how you can go into a $2 shop and you can buy something that's like what you would really pay $100, but it's really like $5? And you can feel it, like the materials and stuff. That thing is real, and that thing is real in ag tech. The only way you can make ultra low cost product other than really, really, really high volume, and even then you've got a problem, is you skimp on your plastics, you skimp on your battery, you skimp on your antenna, you skimp on all these things, and you build a crappy product that's going to fail. So my message is this moment here kills business models. It's when some guy has to go out to the thing in the field and swap it over. right? You can go, well, I'm going to make a few dollars a month, yeah, but you don't want that, because that blows up your few dollars a month in no time whatsoever. And I have a concern that we're going to see a lot of this stuff going on. Now, naturally, you can see I've got the scars. We're burnt by our experiences. Like we've been out there, we're in the trenches kind of going at it. But I personally am excited about this new tech and how we can do ultra-low cost devices, but I'm really, really worried about seeing some of the things that are going out there. So that would be my key message for today. And thank you so much for letting me be here. I really appreciate it.